Usually at this time, we're talking about games we've played, and you are talking about a game you've played. Not really a modern game, though. Have you and Abby, your fiance, gotten any modern games recently?
We have. And in fact, we're set to review one of them on the show. Let me find it. Hang on.
Oh, cool.
It's on the shelf somewhere.
Do we know this game?
I think we do.
You know Renegade, so you may have heard of it. I don't know if you know the game.
Is this the one that we voted? Not voted. Is this the one we're working on with the?
This is the one that Abby called an audible.
Stella! Stella!
This is a fantastic little game.
Hey, Stella!
Excellent.
I don't want to spoil anything for the review for folks who listen to the Dukes, which I don't know what the kind of crossover is, but this is a fantastic little game. Basically, what you're going to do is you're building a telescope. You're building a telescope in front of you, and it's kind of based off of these numbered cards that you lay out as sort of your play area in front of you. And then that play area, you will also have 5 cards that you can draft from, and the cards look like this. You get moon cards, you get stellar clouds, you have black holes, you have asteroids of different kinds, you have satellites. And how this is going to work is at the start of your turn, you're going to pick 1 card and add to your hand. So you'll have 3 cards in your hand. Then you're going to play a card either to your notebook, which determines how cards score, or you're going to play it to your telescope, which determines what is scoring or what is being scored. Mm-hmm. If it's in your notebook, you're looking for runs of consecutive numbers in the same thing. So I'm looking for in moons 2, 3, and 4, because if I get that, I multiply any moon points I have out on the board by 3 times. The trick is, whichever side you play to, let's say I play a 2 to my notebook. Then I look to the row. Remember, there's 5 numbered cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I then have to play the number 2 card from that slot in the other thing. So if I play to my notebook, the number 2 card from the row automatically goes into my telescope. Mm-hmm. If there's no card in there, I get top decked. Whatever's on the top of the deck goes in my telescope, and I have to place it. At the end of the game, you're going to score based on the multipliers and what's in your telescope. You're also going to score based on areas, because it's broken into, I'll show this card, these different regions. So that's how the telescope will be laid out. And the top 5 cards up here, whoever has the highest kind of total number of things in the top numbers gets 10 points. In the middle, top there gets 10 points. And in the bottom, the top person gets 10 points. But it's this really elegant, it's not really a draft, but it's this elegant kind of hand card management kind of system. And it plays really smoothly. It's really puzzly and interesting. And Abby is good at kicking my butt in this one. There's something about this one that has it just click into place for her.
So, and that's from the Fleeples, right? That's Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchback, right?
It is. Yeah.
That is from Renegade Games.
Renegade Game Studios. An awesome 2-player game. So if you're looking for a great one, even for folks who aren't hardcore gamers, it's a simple but deep kind of game. It's in that kind of arboretum type of category where you have really simple mechanics, but the puzzle of it is a lot deeper and a little bit trickier and leads to some crunchy decisions. Here's
where I'm going to play contrarian. One of the reasons why I didn't take a look at it is because the initial theme was so cool.
What was it?
It was lighthouses. So that's one of those things that's just fascinating to me, because I'm not from a place that has lighthouses. I just love them. I love seeing pictures of them. I love visiting them when we're traveling. I don't know how the game played, but the thought of these building these beautiful lighthouses and scoring as they shine out into the water just sounded like a really cool idea for a game.
It makes more sense with the space theme to me than it would with the lighthouse theme.
Instead of finding space things in the sky, you were finding categories of ships, perhaps.
Yeah,
I never played it.
I think I'm with Alex on the theme sounding pretty good. This version.
You're allowed to love lighthouses, and it's certainly not a common theme in games. I would have a hard time thinking of any lighthouse-themed games offhand. I mean, there are probably games that include lighthouses in them. Mm-hmm. If chat has any suggestions on games that are lighthouse-themed, I'd love to hear it. But
Isle of Skye has lighthouses, but it's not a lighthouse game. Yeah.
Yeah, New Bedford has lighthouses on the cover, a beautiful painting by Nolan Nasser, but it has nothing to do with the game at all.
No.
So really, Stellar, the space is closer to you than the lighthouse theme, must it?
Yeah, I think so. What's the time frame on playing that, Alex?
That game takes about a half hour, maybe even a little bit less. It's not a long, in-depth kind of. It's a deep game, but it's certainly not a lengthy game.
I love what you were describing there about the choice of the card is really a choice of two things at once. And that you have that tension between, well, this might not be the greatest choice for me in card, but it's going to do something for me by giving a little bit in what I'm picking next. I like that. The tension sounds cool.
Well, and it's hate drafting too. There might be something that say Abby really wants that would complete a run or would help her or fill out her board. And in order to kind of battle her for that, I might take that card away from her. But that may then hamper my own plans for how I play.
Does that decision slow things down though? Because one of the things I hate is when people are just mathing it out, and next thing you know, it's 20 minutes and they're still sitting there.
There's not enough to this to be stuck in that moment for too long. So it's certainly not anything we ran into.
Right.
And the other benefit of it is it takes a certain number of turns. It will take this number of turns. You play until your telescope is filled up.
Gotcha.
When your telescope is filled up, the game is done. Period. End of story.
I like that. Santa Monica does the same thing. You're playing the 14 cards. And so while you're playing, you kind of forget the number. But when you get to 9, 10, and 11, all of a sudden you start going, okay, I've got the symbols that I want. Now, how can I start scoring them? Is that kind of similar in Stellar?
Yes, yeah, effectively. I mean,
like you see the end game coming?
Yes, at the start of things, you're going to kind of have a something that steers your strategy. The game seeds you with the very top middle card of your telescope and one card in your notebook to start. So you have something to go off of. And then as the game goes on, your strategy gets steered. There are only certain places you're legally allowed to place cards. So there's some tension that comes in as far as that goes. So for instance, if I have a clump of asteroids already, my next asteroid has to be as part of that same clump. I'm not legally allowed to place it not connected or there's not orthogonally adjacent. I mean, it's just kind of everything's either adjacent or it isn't in this. So yeah, there's that kind of decision, and you get some tense moments down the stretch because am I going to be able to fit this in? Am I going to be able to complete this run? It's the difference between a 2 times multiplier or a 5 times multiplier. It might am I going to be able to beat my opponent to scoring this bottom row? Am I going to be able to beat my opponent? Or there's another thing for diversity bonus. Am I going to score the diversity bonus? Is it worth me scoring the diversity bonus in this game? There's a lot going on here choice wise, and they do a lot with a little.
Last question.
Interesting.
Do you think the Washington Post is too powerful? Is it broken? Are they broken? Are their cards broken? Oh, wait, sorry.
It's not a Nixonian themed game, although it could be bizarrely intriguing if it was. I don't know how that theme would work, but not everything is Watergate, BJ. My
real last question was the art. Tell me about the art.
Yeah, I don't know who did it offhand, and I'll talk about this on the show, but it's simple, it's well done, it's clean, it's eye-catching but not striking. It's not my favorite art I've ever seen in a game, but the box itself has this beautiful spot UV in certain parts so that it pops a little bit. It looks very nice. So no, I dig the look of the game too. It from that standpoint, it works well. The one nitpick, and we'll talk about this more on the show, is those telescope cards. I get why they did it that way. If they had it as 2 individual player boards, would have upped the production cost a ton. Yeah. But I think it would have improved the experience of the game just a bit.
And you can hear more about it on the Duke's Dice, and that is, hey, Stella from Renegade Games. Designers Matt and Ben. Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchback.